We are rounding the corner. How's everybody doing? Well, I am Jami Duffy. I think I'm your second to last presenter today. I do want to acknowledge a couple things. If you can't see the slides and you're a visual learner, you are not going to offend me if you get up, make a racket, and go over here. Okay, so I want to talk to you all today. Well, I'm Jami Duffy. I'm the Executive Director of Youth on Record. I've been in that role for 16 years. This is my fourth year as the co-manager of Denver's Underground Music Showcase, and this is our 25th year as the largest and longest running music festival in the American West. So come see us this summer. Okay, what is the big theme we're all trying to tackle? Is money, right? There's not a conversation that we have had over the past couple days that doesn't revolve around these resources. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about where music money is hiding. I don't have all of the answers, and I'm going to give you some case-specific things that have worked for Youth on Record, UMS in Denver, Colorado. Every community is different. Some of this isn't going to work for you necessarily, but there might be some things on the margins that can help you. The other thing I want to let you know is what's mine is yours. I don't want any of you to have to climb up a hill that I've already climbed. Right? So my resources are yours, my contacts are yours, my slide decks are yours. You will get all of my information. Please reach out to me. I especially love to coach folks around money. And I also want to put a precursor on here. We struggle for money every day. We had a very hard week this week with foundations who cut funding for no reason, right? So I want to tell you this before we keep going, which is a quote that I've really come to rely on, which is, success doesn't last, neither does failure. The only thing that matters is the courage to continue. Staying power matters. And so people were talking about working with the government today and how patient we need to be. I actually would replace that with steadfast, right? Like we need to just keep showing up. So let's talk a little bit. I'm not going to bore you with this because we all know this, right? But arts funding is not going to save us. We're looking at NEA, NEH, Americans for the Arts cuts. And when you look at how much, 0.004% of the federal government goes to arts, there wasn't much for us to start with, right? But what we do know is with some of the things that are about to happen with He Who Shall Not Be Named, which you've all done a really good job of doing that over the past 48 hours, health and human services and some basic needs are going to need to be addressed, and they will likely pull that money from arts funding. So I want us to really start to position ourselves as music as infrastructure, right? That we are health, education, and economic development, and that's not a new theme. You met Stephen earlier. Here he is on our slide. I want us to start to talk about building reciprocal relationships with non-traditional partners. And so what does that mean? We really need to start approaching funders with solutions and not asks only, right? So if we could just shift our mindset a little bit, if we can offer a solution, I'm telling you right now, they will come in with some support. So what are some solutions that music offers? Well, public health and mental health support. We activate the community. We offer workforce development pipelines, increase education outcomes. We reduce isolation. You're all hearing about this post-COVID, right? Like everyone's so isolated. I tend to agree and not. We run a youth organization and we see young people every single day and they want to be out, but isolation is an issue right now. Civic engagement, mobilization. We can do that right now. We can do democracy work right now. Look at the campaigns. They're bringing out musicians to every one of them. And then public safety. Somebody said earlier that we have to learn their words. These are their words, right? Like these are not our words necessarily. So in exchange for this, some of the support we're asking for is space, capital improvements, right? Soundproofing, recording studios, things like that, accessibility dollars for our venues, visibility. We need access to decision makers in our city. We are looking for larger and diversified audiences, right? And then we're looking for musician pay and benefits. So let me just give you 3 really tangible examples of where you might look for music money, where it could be hiding. Housing. Youth on Record built a youth media studio. It took us about 6.5 years to build it all in. You'll see pictures here of this. We went to arts funders. They laughed at us. I got kicked out of 2 offices. True story. Housing brought us in. Housing has probably, I'm not going to give you the exact percentage, but probably, I don't know, 4,000 times the amount of money as the arts have, right? So look in your neighborhoods and your communities. Where are the local and national affordable housing developments happening? Affordable housing developments want it to work, and they need cultural activations to make it work. So they want you. They want you on their ground level to do music festivals, music classes for all the kids who live in those residents. So that's the kind of thing that they're looking for. They're looking for you to engage with their residents, make their neighborhoods vibrant. They want your stories of social impact. They would love for you, when their financiers come in and tour neighborhoods, they want musicians next to them because it ups the cool factor. And so in exchange, this is what Youth on Record got. We got a 14-year lease agreement and it just will continue year over year, for 5,000 square foot indoor venue or indoor performance space, recording studio, outdoor venue. It's $1 a year, right? Because we do all of this for them, they came in with all of that for us, right? They did capital improvements for us. They come in as an earned revenue partner. We've gotten new clients for our programs. And then we got access to all these people in housing who are major decision makers. So just when you go home, read the housing section of the digital blog that is now your newspaper. We're not going to talk about that. Okay. The other one is public health. So we need to be looking at our city and state agencies and philanthropy who's funding public health, right? What can you offer them? You are giving them access to the city's target audience. I promise you, your fans are their target audience. 18 to 40 is who cities need, and that's who you reach at all of your shows, and that's who your clients are. You can offer, again, social impact stories. Music and music campaigns can reduce stigma around public health and safety issues right now, mental health, addiction, fentanyl overdoses, large-scale events. We partner with public health and safety at UMS because they get to reach 12,000 18 to 40-year-olds, and then we get to train everybody about harm reduction and fentanyl, right? And we are the audience they want. So what is the support we get? We get funding, we get training for our own teams, we get earned revenue, we get harm reduction resources for our students and our musicians, and then again, we get access to city decision makers. I want to bring up one point about Michael Seaman's presentation about the lack of drinking, which I just want to say, that's scary for venues. That should be celebrated as a nation. We spend $280 million, what did I show you? Million? Billion. We spend $280 billion as a nation annually for alcohol-related public health issues. So, if we're going to be spending less on that, how can we as a music community advocate and say we're part of that solution? We're promoting sobriety. Can we get a little bit of that money, right? So that's just something I'm thinking about with public health and safety. Maybe, these kind of safe, sober spaces at our venues, we could pull some of that money. So that's something I'm going to look into for us when I get home, because I just had that idea at the table. Okay, final one. We've been talking about sports a lot. I am really trying to push Denver to look at music, sports, and entertainment as a similar ecosystem. because, again, kind of like housing, what housing was to Youth on Record in our phase 1, sports will be to Youth on Record in our phase 2, which is essentially where the money is. You guys have heard me say this a little bit, but like even when Rome fell, they played sports to the bitter end. These are not going away. There's nothing but money there. And most sports franchises are real estate developers. So that's what they are. That's what these teams are now. So look in your communities. We just saw this with Vera Project and KEXP. When there is an arena development, remember this word, community benefit agreement. You've got to get on that committee immediately. And you've got to advocate for music money at the table from day one. You can provide these arena redevelopment projects, workforce pipelines, pre and post game fan engagement, right? Player engagement, employee engagement, stories of impact. When these large-scale projects are coming to a city, they need increased favor with the city. In Denver, we are redeveloping 65 acres around Ball Arena. In order to get that done, we had to go through a community benefit agreement process because the Kroenke family had to show how much they were going to give back to the community, or city council would not approve their site plan readjustment, and their development would have tanked, right? So look for these opportunities. Anytime a large-scale development is happening in your community, you should be on the committee as a music leader, helping them decide how to spend that money. Couple of those that Youth on Record's involved with, Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, that Ball Arena I just said, that triggers things like the NBA Foundation. In case you don't know, the NBA Foundation does fund youth and young creative work, and Youth on Record just got pretty sizable funding from them, not for sports, but for music, right? So kind of look outside the box there. We're partnered with the Nuggets. The new women's soccer stadium is coming, and our deputy director is going to sit on the CBA group. So just remember community benefit agreement. So I'm going to leave you with one thing to think about, right? Which is, how do I get in that room? It's a little intimidating to be like, just go meet with your council person, right? Like that's kind of scary and pretty nerdy, right? I still think you should meet with your council person, but there's a couple things to do first, right? Go to things like this that aren't about music, right? Go to non-music panels and policy discussions. Attend town halls, summits, and convenings in housing, transportation, sports, mobility, all of those other areas, because you want people to see you, know your name, who aren't in your sector. An easy one is to follow funders and city departments on social media. Boy, city agencies are like dying for people to engage with their social media. You might be the only person who ever comments on the Department of Public Health and Safety's Instagram. And then all of a sudden they're gonna be like, hey, who's that? And then they're gonna follow you, and then they're gonna invite you to everything because they want people to come to their stuff. So make sure you do that. This is gonna be hard for you guys. I know musicians and music community doesn't love to do this. Get a little braggy and nominate yourself for civic and community awards. That is where they are, right? Like, you've got to go to their tables. You've got to go accept an award on stage. Have your friends nominate you, but it can't just be for you as a musician or music community. It has to be as a music community leader. These things get you in front of these audiences. This is how they pay attention to us. So it's not, and if you're like embarrassed to do that, it's not about you. It's about the entire rest of us who are behind you, right? Like, so if you're the first music leader to get an award from the Department of Public Health and Safety or your business journal, that means that 10 people will follow you and they'll start to pay attention to our sector. Delegation trips, I promise you, every single one of your cities gets business leaders, community leaders together, and they travel to other cities to learn how cool other cities are, right? These are called delegation trips. They always have scholarships because they're expensive. You can apply for a scholarship and go on these trips, and this is how these people do business. This is how they get deals done. This is how they make friends with each other. This is how, these sort of backroom deals are done. Get in that back room, right? So the next time you see your chambers, your downtown partnerships hosting these delegation trips to Montreal, Canada, apply for the scholarship, write the leaders there and say, I want to be on that trip. They will love it. You will be the coolest person on that trip. They will beg you to come back every year. They want artists and musicians with them. And finally, I would just say these all kind of amount to this idea of don't wait to be invited. You have to invite yourself. Once you invite yourself, they're going to be so excited that you're there. They actually want you there. Again, you are the coolest people in their communities. They would love to be your friends. That has been our experience. So these are just some ways to think about outside of the arts, where can I get my music, my organization, my venue, my career funded? So here's my contact information. Like I said, what's mine is yours. Any questions you have, I'm here to support, and let's go get the money.